Hi everyone and welcome to Life Lessons in Session with Joey. This is my second vlog now, and I just want to start off by saying a massive thank you to everybody who's watched, liked, subscribed, commented, given me feedback and just so much love and support on my first vlog. It's been really great to hear from so many of you how much that you felt it helped over Easter with your revision and with how you might have been feeling or thinking about things. So that's really great, and I just want to say thank you. So today's vlog is a bit different. I'm going to talk about labels and labelling that we put on ourselves and that we put on maybe our friends and possibly our children as well. Now, this isn't the sort of labels that are perhaps the more obvious ones. So I'm not talking about labels that are to do with gender, race, religion, sexuality, or anything like that. I'm talking about labels that are a bit more subtle and could possibly be equally, if not sometimes more, damaging to us because we don't realise that we're putting those labels and therefore oftentimes those restrictions on ourselves. So I'm going to get you guys to do an exercise with me, if that's okay. Of course, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but I'm going to do it as well. So if you can just grab a piece of paper and a pen. So I want you to just think for a minute about different labels that you may give yourself. Now, these could be things like I'm shy, I'm chatty, I'm loud, I'm funny, I'm sporty, I'm arty, all of that sort of thing. Okay, so I just want you to think for a second and then write down as many as you can think of, and I'm going to do it as well with you. Okay, go. Great, so hopefully you've got a few. Now I want you to think about certain labels that you might give other people that you know. These can be positive or negative. No one's here to judge anyone. It's just a little exercise in things that we might say without realising we're saying them. So I want you to just think about things that you might say to other people. Okay, go. Stop. Okay, so the reason I wanted to do that exercise with you is because you often find that when you start secondary school, so when you're 11, I mean it happens way earlier, but especially I think at secondary school, we start to give ourselves and the people around us these labels. Like I said, you know, they're the funny one, they're the smart one, they're the pretty one, they're the sporty one, they're the arty one, they're the creative one, they're the shy one. So we're throwing all of these words out at people and possibly receiving them and giving them to ourselves as well at 11 years old when you start secondary school. The danger is that those labels often stay with us until we're in year 11, until we're in year 13, and possibly for the rest of our life. That's a really dangerous place to be, and I've been looking at this a lot with students over the last year, and it's really tricky because you might have a certain persona, of course, that you have when you're 11 and you start secondary school that people then want to keep you as when you're 16. But the reality is that by the time you get to 16, you're not the same person you were when you were 11. It would be kind of weird if you were. But then you have this danger where, say when you were 11 and you're in year 7, you're the shy one. So, you know, you're not speaking up as much, you're a bit unsure of things, You maybe keep your thoughts to yourself, which is totally valid. By the time you're 16, you might have found your voice a bit more, and you might be somebody who does want to speak up. You might be somebody who does have an opinion on something and is willing to speak against their friends or their peers or whoever. And suddenly the people around you are going, well, that's not like you. You don't normally do that. I'm normally the one that leads the group, or I'm normally the one that has the opinion. I'm normally the one that speaks up. So you are in this really, really tricky place where you're trying to find what you are now, but people are trying to keep you what you were then, if that makes sense. And then you might start to find that you start to gravitate towards a different group of friends, or you feel that you've outgrown your friends. That's often what happens, or that you're being slightly misunderstood by the people that were once your closest support group. That's okay, and at the time it maybe feels horrific and you feel that you can't be without them, and you have people starting to say to you things like, you've changed, you've changed, you've changed, like it's a negative thing. Of course you've changed. You're not going to be the same at 16 that you were at 11. You're not going to be the same at 18 that you were at 16, the same at 25 that you were at 15. Of course you're not, and it would be kind of weird if you were. So it's a tricky situation, because the reason we start throwing these labels on ourselves and on our friends is because as a teenager, you're massively trying to work out what your identity is, where you fit in the group of people that you're around, whether that's in the classroom, whether that's in your family, whether that's with your friends. And it's a really, really difficult time, and often a really painful time. But what's so, so important is that you stay always true to who you are. And if you feel, I'm not that label, don't allow yourself to succumb to it. Don't allow yourself to be bought into it and start to try and be that label because somebody's given that to you. I've got friends who the pressure on them of always being the funny one or the class clown, and it's like suddenly if they're in a situation where they're not having a good day or they're not feeling funny that day, they feel that they still have to be the one making everybody laugh. That's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. If you're labelled as the smart one, and you might get anything less than a C in your exam or your mock, the pressure that you then start to feel because you don't feel that that's good enough. If you're the chatterbox and today you don't feel like having anything to say, people think that you're in a mood, or they think that something's wrong with you, and then they'll keep asking you and asking you and asking you. So if you're the sporty one and you didn't get a goal at the weekend in your football match, or you didn't do so well in rugby, it's like all of these different labels that are put on us that make us feel we have to be achieving that. If we're having an off day or an off week or an off month, or maybe we're just feeling, I don't want to be that today, I just want to be this instead, that has to be okay, and you have to know that that's okay. And by allowing yourself to stay true to that, you also need to, we also need to make sure that we're equally not putting those labels on our friends and on other people, because we do it, we all do it, I've done it, and it's a very dangerous area where, I'll give you another example, you might be labelled as the pretty one, the confident one, the one who will speak to anybody, the sociable one, and that's great at 12, 13, 14. Then you start to get older and those labels and those names start to change, and they turn into things like slut, whore, and words like that, because somebody who's confident and is okay speaking to anyone, whatever gender, being friendly, might be misconstrued as being flirty. And instead of that just being okay, we feel that we have to give it a label and bring it down. And that's not a healthy thing for your friends. It's not a healthy thing for any kind of relationships. I've had teenagers come to me and tell me that they've been accused of things that they've never done because people have decided to label them a certain way. And it might also be the way that somebody dresses. that's another thing that's massive, I think, at any age, but I think as a teenager especially. We kind of dress in a way that identifies us with a group of people, whether that's through music, through sport, through interests, whatever it might be. So you again tend to label people emo, goth, sporty, trendy, hipster, again words like slut. All of those words are not necessarily ideal. It's like you're a person that's got clothes on at the end of the day. You're just wearing what you want to wear that day. And maybe one day you might dress like this and another day you might dress like this. That doesn't mean your personality's changed. It just means that you've got different sides of your personality. We're not a piece of paper, we're not 2D. We're three-dimensional people and we're complicated. There's a lot to us. So we might wear something that reflects our mood that day. That's okay. One day you might dress more girly, another day you might dress more like a tomboy, whatever that means. So you need to just be aware of what you're saying to yourself and what you're saying to other people. If you've got friends that are body confident, male or female, who are happy with their body and don't mind wearing whatever they want to wear to express that, be supportive of that. It's much better for people to be confident in what they're wearing and in their own skin than to feel that they have to dress, walk, talk, be a certain way because they're worried about how other people are going to label them. Because that's not you being true to yourself. That's you trying to conform to what is a construct of society and in how we should be. So I'm just urging everybody this week. We're starting a new term at school. It's summer. People are starting to change how they might be dressing. People are also starting to change how they might be thinking about themselves. You know, you're probably starting to prepare for the fact that you're going to be moving up into the next school year. For some of you, you'll be going off to uni. For some of you, you might be thinking, am I staying at school or am I going to be going to college? Am I moving sixth form? Massive decisions, massive decisions. And they are big decisions. And it's okay for you to be worried about them at times. But also, make sure you're doing what's right for you. Really what's right for you. Not what's right for what people are labelling you as and for what other people's opinion of what is right for you is. Make sure you're doing what makes you happy. You're identifying in a way that is making you happy as well. So at this time, often we're starting to look at maybe the people we're friends with. You might feel like, especially if you're in year 11, you might start to feel like you're outgrowing your friends. That, again, it's very normal. It doesn't mean that you think you're better than them. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that you're at a point where you're starting to change because you're growing up and you're moving to the next chapter of your life. And that is okay. As long as you know what you want, know what you're about. And if you don't know what you want, that's equally as valid. Just be aware of it. And make sure, 100% make sure that you're not conforming to what other people want of you. So I guess my message this week is to try not to label yourself or others unless it's a label that you want to be identified as, then that's fine, but it has to be your choice. And keep on supporting the people around you and staying true to yourself. So that's my message for the week. As always, if you want to email in, email the address just below. You can comment, subscribe and like to my channel. I'm trying to do an upload every week, so tune in for next week's one. If there's anything that you want me to talk about, please do comment or email me and I'll try and talk about that as well. I've got a song for the week this week. It's a bit of an old school classic, but I think it's a real chilled song and I hope that you guys will like it and enjoy it and find it as motivation or a song to chill you out this week. Okay, lots of love.
I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, and I headed for the Frisco Bay. 'Cause I've got nothing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything seems to stay the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Listen, for 2,000 miles I roam just to make this dock my home. Now I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tides roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, I'm wasting time.